youth retreat, Brother Frank answered 5 big questions.
在这一次的青年退休会中 ，Frank 弟兄回答了5个问题。
One of these was, why am I here?
其中一个是我为什么在这里
So Frank made this plain and simple.
？Frank 弟兄给了一个简单的答案。
We are here to discover our one thing and pursue it intentionally and relentlessly.
我们在这里是因为我们要去探索一件事情，并要坚持不懈地去追求它。
So what does this mean?
这是什么意思呢？
It means that God has crafted each one of us and gave us unique gifts.
神创造了我们每一个人，而且给了我们特殊的礼物。
And we are to discover what God made us for and to work at it with passion and determination.
我们要去探索神给我们的礼物，并要用激情和决心努力地去争取。
It's very interesting because at the beginning of the first session, in the beginning of the retreat,
很有趣的是，我们在第1堂课会开始之前，
Brother Frank asked us all to introduce ourselves and to name one thing that makes you special or different than everyone else in the room.
Frank 弟兄让我们大家介绍自己，而且还要说一件是你特别或与其他人不同的事情。
I remember some people, including me, had a hard time thinking of something that made us special.
我记得有一些人，包括我，用了很长的时间去想有什么事情是我们比别人特别的。
But while answering the question of why am I here, he made it very clear that each one of us is special and that God made us differently for a purpose.
但在回答我为什么在这里这个问题的时候，他说得很清楚，我们每个人都是特别的。
So next he gave us 3 indicators that would guide us to our one thing that God specially made us for.
接下来，他给了我们3个指示，让我们能来明白神给我们每个人特别的旨意。
Our frustrations are the first indicator.
我们的挫折是第1个指示。
His definition of frustration is the tension we experience when we are kept from receiving something we desire or prevented from attaining a goal.
他对挫折的理解是，当我们不能得到一个我们满意的结果，我们会有到一种紧张感。
He doesn't mean when we don't get something we want for our birthday or if the dentist says no to sweets for a week.
他不是说我们生日的时候没有得到我们想要的东西，或
That's
者
not what,
是牙医说1个礼拜不可以吃点甜点，
that's not what he meant by frustration.
这不是他对挫折的理解。
A frustration would be something like being troubled by that the English translation isn't always easy to understand or if the music is hard to sing.
反而挫折可以是英文翻译并不总是很容易理解，或者是那个旋律很难唱。
The frustrations that you have are one of the few emotions that link to your desires, and that's a hint of your spiritual gift.
你感到的挫折会连到你的欲望，这是一个极少有的情感，所以这是一个指示，让我们知道我们属灵的礼物。
The second indicator is your burdens and passions.
第2个指示是负担与激情。
Burdens aren't something that we don't just worry about, but it's something that we constantly think about.
负担是那些我们不只担心的事情，反而是我们一直会去想的事情。
Brother Frank gave us an example,
Frank 弟兄举了个例子，
and he said that if he saw any animal that was suffering, I mean, yeah, of course he'd feel bad for it.
他说如果他看见任何一个受伤的动物，当然他会难过。
But if he saw a person suffering, then that'd be a totally different thing.
但是如果他看见一个人受伤，对他来说会是完全不同的。
And for him, he'd have a burden for helping that person.
他将会有一个负担去帮助那个人。
And a passion is something that motivates you.
激情会使我们更积极的事情。
Examples could be like passionate about serving or helping others or teaching like the little children.
比如你想要帮助别人的激情，或者是有想要教小孩子的激情。
And finally, our work is the third indicator of our gift.
最后，我们的工作将是第3个指示。
Works are the things that help our lives to be more productive or meaningful.
工作是那些可以帮助我们生活更有意义。
If the work that you do is better than the same work that an average person would do, then that is another clue for your spiritual gift.
如果你在你的工作里比平常的人做得更好的话， 那你知道那是一个给你一个让你知道你属灵的指示。
So to wrap up, there are 3 answers to this question of why am I here.
结束的时候，我为什么在这里这个问题有3个答案。
There's a big answer, a medium answer, and a little answer.
有大答案、一般的答案，还有详细的答案。
The big answer, of course, is to glorify God.
大答案当然是要去荣耀神。
We were all put in this earth to manifest His glory.
我们在这个地球上是要去彰显他的荣耀。
The medium answer is things like knowing God, sharing the gospel, and helping the community.
一般的答案可以是去知道神、分享福音，或者是帮助社区。
And the small answer is to figure out our one thing and pursue it relentlessly, as mentioned before.
详细的答案就是去弄清楚我们的那一件事，无情的去追求它，就像我在前面提到过的。
However, when you only have this one answer and not the medium or the big,
当你知道只有一个答案的时候，不是一般的答案，或者是详细的答案。
no matter how much you contribute to this world, or no matter how smart you are, it's not worth anything eternally.
不管你为了这个世界奉献了多少，不管你有多聪明，这都不是值得永恒的事情。
When we do things we're good at, but we only do it for our own purposes, for our own glory, and not to glorify God, it is all done in vain.
当我们做我们擅长的，只是按照我们自己的意思，为了我们自己的荣耀，而不是去荣耀神，所有的都是虚空的。
People like George Washington Carver or C.S. Lewis have been very, very successful in life, but not only did they have the small answer, they also had the medium and the big answer.
像 George Washington Carver 或者是 C.S. Lewis 这些人，他们的人生都非常成功，因为他们不只有详细的答案，但是他们有一般的答案，还有大答案。
Luke 6:43-44 says, "For there is no good tree which produces bad fruit, nor on the other hand a bad tree which produces good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they pick grapes from briar bush."
路加福音6章43节到44节说，耶稣回答说：“你们不要大家议论，若不是差我来的父吸引人。”
I related to an example Brother Frank shared very well.
刚才的福音是路加福音6章43节到44节。说，因为没有好树结坏果子，也没有坏树结好果子。凡树木看果子，就可以认出它来。人不是从荆棘上摘无花果，也不是从棘藜里摘葡萄。
So I related to an example Brother Frank shared very well.
Frank 弟兄分享了一个我可以理解的例子。
I'm no tree expert.
我不是一个树木专家。
If you showed me any type of tree, I would know if it was a maple tree, a pine tree, or whatever it might be.
所以，如果你让我看一种树，我不会知道它是不是枫树，或者是松树，或者是任何一种树。
But if I saw apples on a tree, I think I'd be smart enough to know it was an apple tree.
但是如果我看见树上有苹果，那我想我应该足够聪明，知道那是个苹果树。
So we as Christians should be producing fruit so that other people can know that we are Christians.
所以我们基督徒应该让别人看到我们基督徒的果子，应该让别人一看就知道我们是基督徒。
But most importantly, we do it in order to glorify God.
但是最重要的是，我们做这些事情是去荣耀神。
I find this interesting because it's related to the eternal purpose of God.
我觉得很有趣的是，因为这也跟神永远的旨意有关。
We are all part of the body of Christ, and just like each part of the body has a different function, we all have a different role that we play.
我们都是基督的一体，我们都是基督的身体的一部分，身体的每一个部分都具有不同的功能，我们每一个人都扮演着不同的角色。
And when we figure out that one role and pursue it with a determined heart to glorify God, we really see the body of Christ working together as one.
当我们知道我们的角色的时候，并有决心去追求它来荣耀神，我们真的看到基督的身体一起做工，同为一体。
Thank you.